the damn thing. Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. I am coming to you from a very special, not so secret anymore location today because I'm going to be explaining exactly where I am and how I manifested this. Before we dive into today's video, make sure you scroll down to the description below and sign up for our July Feminine First Workshop, or whatever the next Feminine First Workshop is when you're watching this. This is our monthly free community event. It is a workshop / women's circle where we really create this space to come together to talk about these topics of overworking, being ambitious, wanting to create it all, wanting to achieve these big, massive goals, but doing it without sacrificing our well-being. In these workshops, I teach you the tools, techniques, methods, mindset shifts, and coaching tips to showing up in your feminine first. Make sure you also scroll down and check out the 2 signature courses that I offer. These are for a waitlist right now, but I would love to see you on there if they speak to you. All right, let's dive into today's video. So I manifested something massive. And I'm going to cut right to the chase because I'm putting this in the title, but I moved to Copenhagen. This has been a dream of mine for the last 7 or 8 years. I came here once for about a 24, 48-hour layover. I don't even think it was quite 2 days. Explored the city and absolutely fell in love with it. At that point, it wasn't clear to me that I needed to live here, but a few months later, there was this clear, intuitive knowing that I needed to be here eventually. So really, really interesting that back then, I literally told people, I'm going to live in Copenhagen one day. And I would have friends or people who I would have told this to send me pictures of Copenhagen related things, or if they saw it like on a sweatshirt or something like that. I was just constantly sharing this totally random, crazy fact that I was going to live in Copenhagen. And I really can't explain more to it other than the fact that it was truly this inner pull. I just knew that something was waiting for me here and that I needed to be in this city. So fast forward a bunch of years of traveling, living in Canada, moving back to Germany, kind of being all over the place, always having this knowing in the back of my head that I'm going to eventually be in Copenhagen. And at one point, the setup is going to be clear. I'm going to know that it's time to make that move. So even though I knew the entire time that this was something that I was going to create for myself, I didn't create any pressure around it. There wasn't any part of me that was like, by the time I'm this age, I need to be there. Or at this point in my life, I need to make sure that I've moved there. It was very open and I was very unattached, simply connected to this deep inner knowing that I was going to be there eventually. So when I moved to Mexico earlier this year, I spent a couple months living there. While I was there, I went through a complete initiation phase, which I will definitely be circling back to and making another video on in reflection of everything that's happened since then, because honestly, Copenhagen and this coming into play and falling into place is a huge piece of what I went through in Mexico. But while I was there, there was this very clear go time knowing. It was like, okay, now it's time to do Copenhagen. Now, when I get back from this time spent in Mexico to Germany, I'm going to start initiating this move. However, what I would have done in the past would have been very strongly showing up in my planning, structured, action-taking energy. So that's all very masculine, which of course we need when we're going towards a big goal or a plan. But I don't want to be in that starting out. We never want to start in the masculine. That's why the workshop that I host monthly is called the Feminine First Workshop. We want to start in the feminine. The feminine is that intuitive foundation. So when we start from that place, that's where we're able to get the downloads, to get the clarity, to understand what actions we're meant to be taking when we do step into the masculine then. So my goal was to create Copenhagen from the feminine, to manifest this completely. And that is exactly what I did. And the way that I did that was completely surrendering to the process, completely allowing myself to be in my feminine. So like I said, when I got back from Mexico, the first thing that I did wasn't looking at all the websites with housing on it and going into all the Facebook groups. I allowed myself to come back home and pause and tap into my intuition to get really clear on, okay, I'm open to where I'm guided next. Is it to a Facebook group? Is it to a particular website? Is it to reach out to someone in particular? So I ended up reaching out to someone that I knew here, the only person that I knew here actually, who very quickly and unintentionally connected me with friends of theirs who were looking for a roommate. And at first I was like, you know what, that sounds really good. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because they were looking for someone long term, whereas I was manifesting coming here for the summer to really allow myself to arrive without any stress, without any pressure, and then to make the decision after that to stay if that was what I felt called to do. So the first round didn't work out. And instead of feeling like, oh, it's a sign that I shouldn't be there, or now I need to be stressing because an opportunity like that won't come around again. Again, these are a lot of the mindsets that I see so often with clients and that so many of us have, of course, because we are taught to not expect the best possible outcome. I decided to take it as a sign that there's something better for me, that I'm going to get a beautifully furnished place and I'm going to get the space that feels perfectly like home to me. And the universe asked me to expand. It said, do you want to settle for living with other people? Which honestly, to try it out, I was very open to doing. I'm very much a go with the flow, happy to rough it out kind of person. But the universe wanted me to step up and it said, we have a full apartment for you. Do you want it? And essentially what happened is I didn't spend hours searching sites. I didn't spend weeks thinking about I need to respond to this person, or I need to reach out, or I need to make a post about who I am and that I want to live in some apartment in Copenhagen, because I was using a lot of Facebook groups where that was initially eventually where I found the apartment that I am now in. But I just really let it be. And I got a second intuitive hit then, which was on a Sunday. I had my brother visiting and I drove him to the airport, and at the airport, there was such expansive energy. I don't know if you're like this, but I love being at the airport and looking at the boards and all the destinations that you could travel to and when they're leaving. And I start creating all these stories about where I'm going to go. And if I was here, what flight would I go on? What destination would I want to go to? And I just got really excited. And I saw that there was a flight going out to Copenhagen. Of course, from Munich, there's a flight that leaves to Copenhagen basically every single day. But I was like, okay, when I get home, I'm going to find my place. And it just felt really easy. So I went online. I decided I'm going to look in the Facebook groups because that just is what drew me. I actually threw on some Netflix in the background. I was like, I'm going to make this feel really peaceful. And within probably 30 minutes, a post came up. It was a beautiful apartment. It was not just a room. It was an entire 2-bedroom apartment. And initially it said for couples or for, roommates. And I was like, I am neither of those, but I'm going to respond to this. I'm going to lean into this expansiveness of what I can create here. And essentially that's the apartment that I ended up getting. So this whole long-winded story is to really, number one, celebrate this huge shift in my life. This is a long time coming. Like I said, something that I've been intent on manifesting for the last 7 years, but it came from this place of openness, of receptivity, of trust, and knowing that I got to have it. So there was never any stress around how I was showing up, right? Every time I went to do something, it was from this place of deep trust and surrender to the process. And even though I innerly and logically knew that I wanted to be here over the summer, I never put that pressure on it. I truly believed that this got to be mine. And so it didn't matter when it happened. And that's really what I want you to take away from this video. Of course, I'm celebrating this big shift, but for you to kind of understand, this is what is possible for you when you start leading with the feminine first. This is the power that you have to quite literally magnetize whatever it is that you want, because you're doing it from a place of openness. You're not forcing, you're not needing it. You're not desperate about having it. You're letting it come to you because you know that it gets to be yours. It's already done. So the timeline of it happening doesn't actually matter. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments if this resonated with you, what your biggest takeaway was. Make sure you like this video, share it with someone that you love, and subscribe to the channel so that I can see you back here next time.